So President Donald Trump continues to sweat about impeachment and is now claiming that he will take any attempt at impeachment to the Supreme Court. Now, anybody who knows the law, and you guys might not be aware, that makes no sense. He can't actually take it to the Supreme Court. Courts don't handle impeachment proceedings. You know who handles it? Congress. The House brings in articles of impeachment, and the Senate basically votes to convict. That's how it works. That's how it's laid out in the Constitution. Nonetheless, Trump earlier today tweeted this. The Mueller report, despite being written by angry Democrats and Trump haters, that's strange, and with unlimited money behind it, $35 million, didn't lay a glove on me. Now, again, this is the same person who, when this came out, had Bill Barr basically come out and write a very nice summary of it, where he then is like, oh, full exoneration. But he can't help himself, even though, yes, it didn't necessarily go after him, because Mueller basically said, I can't really indict him. We've got a Justice Department that's not willing to indict, so we're just going to punt this over to Congress. So now he's, of course, raging about it on Twitter. He continues, he said, I did nothing wrong. If the partisan Dems ever tried to impeach, I would first head to the Supreme Court. But wait. Okay, so let's break that down, right? First off, I did nothing wrong. That's false. Look, says the guy who in the report was found to have been, committed obstruction no fewer than 10 times. And I say no fewer because there were plenty of times that he tried to do obstruction that his own aides were like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. That's really, really dumb. That's really stupid. Not really interested in doing that. Now, what also was said in the report is that basically Mueller suggested that Congress hold the president accountable using Congress. Now, that would mean articles of impeachment. That makes sense. The report did not say that it was an exoneration of the president. Obstruction, after all, is still a crime, even if the underlying crime being investigated wasn't. Now, what do I mean by that? That means that even though that they did find insufficient evidence of a criminal conspiracy involving Russia, or so-called Russiagate, in the 2016 elections, if you try to block an investigation, because look, you don't know the investigation's going to find. You could find the investigation could clear you. But if you're super worried and paranoid like President Trump and start attacking the investigation, maybe because, I don't know, maybe because he is hiding something or hates investigations. I don't know. I don't know the reason why. But if you try to block it, undermine it, or not cooperate, guess what? That's a crime. That is still considered a crime. It's obstruction. And last I knew, we lived in the nation of laws, and no president should be above the law. Now, President Trump, of course, believes, oh, no, I am above the law. And I packed a court with my cronies. And so, what? Now, if you try to impeach me, I'm going to go to the court. Now, of course, as usual, we have social media users that are far smarter than the President of the United States, and that is very sad. And they quickly piled on to correct him, starting with conservative lawyer and husband to White House counsel Kellyanne Conway. This is George Conway. And they said, quote, "You're lying again. It is astounding how little understanding you have of the Constitution you're sworn to uphold." The only thing Trump basically swore to uphold, by the way, is himself. Daniel Dresner said, quote, "The Constitution, how does it work? I don't know, maybe it's like magnets. How do they work?" Points for the reference on that one. Devin Nunes' cow says, "Obstruction of justice, abuse of power." So that's a couple of the things that are in there. Then, of course, there's conspiracy, obstruction of justice, as I said, witness tampering, witness intimidation, bank fraud, insurance fraud, emoluments clause violations, etc. Right? And that's just, those are the charges in there. Now, more tweets here. Joyce Aline says, so much wrong with this president and with the election of a man who is ignorant about the Constitution. Well, that's most Republicans, unfortunately. Most Republican politicians, I should say. So worrisome, he believes the court will save him, no matter what. Now, again, I mentioned that it's probably because he thinks, well, look, I stacked the Supreme Court. I put Gorsuch there. I put Kavanaugh there with the help of Mitch McConnell for, it basically, I blocked Merrick Garland for nearly a year and then managed to get my own guys in there. Well, they'll protect me. And of course, the reason that he thinks that is, I helped them get in there on the Supreme Court. And now they owe me. And they're going to protect me. Huh. Right. Now, again, he's got a gross misunderstanding of how this entire process works. He thinks, for one, and there's this, I guess there's this pervasive belief that impeachment just means removal. No, it doesn't necessarily mean removal. Bill Clinton got impeached and he was still president. So there you go. But he doesn't understand these things. He doesn't know what it means, doesn't understand impeachment, doesn't even understand the Constitution. It's super sad because he's the president of the United States. There's more. Kevin Cruz says, wait, you think the Supreme Court is going to stop a Senate impeachment trial? Did you replace Rudy Giuliani with Louise Mensch? Now, Louise Mensch, the reason I've never talked about her before is that she's basically a crazy person who sees Russians everywhere. And I mean everywhere. I'm not kidding. Check out her Twitter feed. It is a ball of crazy. That said, let's move on. Kenneth Heinz decides to give a couple of facts about the process. Says, the Chief Justice will preside over your Senate trial. That's John Roberts. But other than that, the Supreme Court has no power whatsoever to review or impede your impeachment and, hopefully, removal. Okay? So, again, facts. The Glare says, I will go to the judicial branch to stop the legislative branch from performing its constitutional oversight over the executive branch. That's basically what they're doing right now. And it sounds about right. I love this name. Matt Ratio Howard Schultz on every tweet. Negrin says, it's a little weird but not surprising that not a single reporter has ever asked Trump to explain any part of the Constitution. That is a great point. And makes you wonder why. Oh, right, because it would show how embarrassingly ignorant the President of the United States is. Trump understands almost nothing. Again, I think the only amendments that he's aware of is the second and maybe some of the first. He's not smart. He doesn't read. He has no intellectual curiosity and is an all-around dotard. Just not a smart person. Not a very stable genius. Moving on. Renato Mariotti says, the Mueller report paints a picture of Trump constantly told by aides, lawyers, and other officials that much of what he did was wrong. And this tweet makes clear he has learned nothing. Honestly, did anybody expect him to learn anything from this debacle? Look, the reason that I say that, is because this is somebody who's never had to learn anything from getting punished, right? From ever having to admit that he did anything wrong in the first place. He's never taken responsibility for his actions. Ergo, he's never learned anything from those actions. He's gotten away with everything in his entire life. And it's because he's supposedly wealthy and powerful, although we don't know how wealthy he is. He won't learn anything until he's actually been held accountable for his actions. I have one final tweet here. And it's Rick Wilson, somebody I don't necessarily agree with, but fun tweet anyway. He said, didn't lay a glove on you. Dude, you're sweating like a Roy Moore at a middle school gym class. The reason that I read that is because of the fantastic Roy Moore joke. You can't beat that. Well done. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.